Everything I've seen from them, number one, against my will. Number two, not necessary for the internet. No one needs to see this kind of relationship dynamic. It's uncomfortable, quite frankly.
Women need to understand this. If you are the top 1% guy,
you have all the options.
Thinking about these two, thinking that they are in the top 1% of guys, makes me want to laugh like a hyena.
But I heard even you wrestling with that recently, were you not?
Yeah, I could be persuaded that a family should vote.
Right.
Not two people, and that the man, being the head of the family, should vote on behalf of the family.
So
these guys are talking right now, debating about whether or not women should vote. I think enough time has passed for me to finally say this, but not everybody needs a podcast. Yeah. Actually, in fact, I think we need to start really heavily considering banning podcast equipment. Honestly, we need regulations up in here for who's allowed to talk into a mic, who's got access to a microphone and the ability to post their innermost thoughts on the internet. Why does it feel like 95% of the clips that I see come across my For You page, they look exactly like this?
Successful people don't own pets, and here's why. The time and the resources it takes to take care of an animal, take it on walks, vet bills, clean up, and in return, you get licked on, is not a good ROI. The only exception is that there's multiple people in the house that can also take care of the animal. But you will never, ever see a successful person living alone with pets.
First of all, who is this person? I feel like that's a logical place to start, right? When we have to break this stuff down. Who is this person and why is he wearing a bowling shirt? And who's he talking to? Well, it turns out he's actually talking to nobody. It's not a parody. He's dead serious. There's nobody in the room with him. There's no one in the room. We need to take the mic away, okay? But beyond that, why are we talking about successful people and doing this overgeneralization about animals and no successful people own pets? What are you talking about? Let's talk about the real problem here. This is that he's not understanding why people get animals. He actually thinks that people get a dog so they can get licks. If you're buying a pet so you could get licked, you're getting a pet for the wrong reason. You should be in jail, most likely. You should be in jail for this podcast clip as well. I'm just gonna go there. That's not why people buy pets. And to say that no successful people have pets, like, where do these people come from? Where do they come from? I don't know. Take the mics away. Top comment, bros talking to nobody. Not everyone needs to do a podcast, and I have to agree.
My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy. You're crazy for thinking it takes 24 hours, just like some dude in a cave did 300 years ago.
Once again, we've got kind of like the alpha bro, motivational speaker type of podcasting, just like a dude in a cave 300 years ago. You mean the 1700s? Maybe 3,000 years ago. It's getting scary.
My second day starts at noon and goes till 6 p.m. That's day 2. And then the next day is 6 p.m. to midnight. What I've done now is I have changed and manipulated time. I now get 21 days a week.
I mean, why didn't I think of that?
Stack that up over a month, I'm gonna kick your butt. Stack it up over a year, you're toast. Stack it up over 5 years, my entire life is different than it would have been otherwise.
It's just about stacking imaginary days. You can't make up the insanity.
Just lost and they don't know what the hell to do or who to be. Society's really weird now. I'm so thankful that I didn't grow up with social media.
You know, I think this is something that not enough people talk about, actually, is how weird society is. Guys, no one's talking about this. No one's talking about how hard it is to be on social media and how weird that is. No one. No one's talking about it. Oh, wait, actually, wait a minute. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Everybody's talking. We're tired of it. I don't need to hear the platitudes anymore of social media. Enough. We need to stop. Back away from the mic.
Because I cannot imagine how hard it is to, just see everything that you see, to have this constant, bombardment of amazingness at your, fingertips.
This is how you should be. This is how you should look.
And then society and the far left wing has kind of, it's harder to be a dude now than I think it's been in a long time.
A lot of people hate men.
I think it was a lot harder for men when it was 300 years ago and they were living in caves.
A lot of people hate men, or that we're toxic, or we're oppressing somebody. We're just trying to get some action and make a buck. And so,
dude, you're complaining about people thinking that men are toxic when you just reduce the entire male experience to getting action and getting money. That's it. What do you expect? Hey, maybe do something worthwhile in your life. Maybe have some noble goals and aspirations and values, and stop talking into the mic. Stop talking into it. get away from it, back away.
Date a guy who's richer than you. I have never, ever seen it where a woman can successfully be with a guy who makes less money than her, unless they both make such crazy amounts of money. Like, I'm talking 2 celebrities.
Okay, once again, the logical place to start with this is, who the hell is this person? What qualifications does he have? We're going off of this guy's personal lived experience of, hey, I've never seen it happen. Okay, so you've never seen it. I'm sorry, but what are you talking about? Stop talking.
But if you've got a woman who maybe is masculine in the workplace, but at home she wants to be feminine, I personally have never seen it where she can be with a guy who makes less money.
Okay, guys. He's never seen it, so it must not exist. He actually should be podcasting about it because people need to know this because he's never seen it. Like, you're not understanding the gravity of he has never witnessed this.
And has less resources or less power or less
the music
ability to pull strings. I personally haven't seen it work. So my best recommendation is understand that your dating life will get more difficult because you're only going to be able to date guys who make more than you.
Ladies, your dating life's gonna get difficult if you start to make more money. I would stay away from trying to make more money, okay? Because this guy has the crystal ball, right? This random guy who's giving out relationship advice in a dimly lit room on a podcast hasn't seen it work. So just so you know, life's about to get difficult. You might be getting everything you've ever wanted, right? You might have your career, but it's gonna be hard. Just know that. I love the fact that they say it with their chest too. Really funny. Really funny. I mean, really funny. It's funny. This is funny. Millionaire thinking. I love the finance ones. Usually when you see finance stuff, it's the most qualified people that are definitely not scamming people. Like, they're never, usually it's very rare. Oh wait, I'm sorry. No, that's wrong. It's about 99% chance that the person that's giving you financial advice is scamming you. Like, that's the reality. So this is going to be good. This is going to be really good.
Or like, oh, where did you learn shit? Where did you read this? Sometimes you just have to sit down and analyze. Sometimes you just have to sit down and think. Most people don't think. They have time, they don't make it.
Yeah.
They don't make time to think. And when you understand that thinking is actually a skill, you begin to develop it.
Wait a minute. Why didn't I think of that? I just feel like I had a light bulb moment because of this. Who is this person?
Thinking is a skill set. I spent, in fact, it was about 8 to 12 months sitting around a fire. Literally, it was my job to sit around the fire and we were just masterminding. I would bring different people into my house. I would come spend a few weeks with us and we would literally sit down and mastermind. I didn't make money.
So you were jobless. You didn't have a job. This is the kind of advice that's getting circulated out to people. It's a concern. People are like, oh my God, this is money, man. This is money. This is millionaire thinking, man. Like, I'm gonna make $1 million. No wonder there's a new scam every week. There's a rug pull, crypto, coin scandal, the get rich quick, goofy, motivational, like finance bro stuff. This is why we need regulations. We need regulations on this equipment because it's just not doing anything for anybody.
One of my married friends told me that when you get married, your husband or your wife or whoever you're marrying, when you get married, your partner actually becomes your immediate family.
What does a day in a life look like for you?
So I wake up every day at 2:45.
Everyone in this world literally lives once. Like, you've only got one opportunity in this world.
Think like that.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you've only got one.
Turning it down. Are the schools still open? Now I kind of look back, I go, were they ever open? I don't know, I'm concerned. Well guys, Matt Howard strikes again. If you haven't seen this guy, he goes viral every few months for basically being like the worst husband of all time. I've actually made a video about him and his wife and all the stupid said on his podcast. If you don't remember, he was the one that said that they were canceling Father's Day because it fell on the same day as his birthday. Grown adult, by the way, with 2 kids. He's just gone viral many times for being in what I believe is like just a generally toxic relationship with his wife. Like, it's just, every time I see them, it's something against my will that I did not need to see. And he's done it again. So he recently started, I guess, his own podcast, his own separate one, because he's got one with his wife that sucks. So then he needed to start another one that sucks by himself. And this video started doing the rounds.
This is super embarrassing, but I've been sleeping in our walk-in closet for the past month now. This is our guest bedroom mattress that I dragged all the way from our guest bedroom.
Why is it in the closet? Why didn't we just leave it in the guest bedroom where it was?
Into here. And my wife's not a huge fan of this arrangement. Obviously, I don't know a spouse that would be stoked.
Yeah, so let's see what his wife had to say.
There's Matt and Abby just revealed that Matt has been sleeping in their closet for the past month as fans speculate the two are headed towards divorce. So if you've been following this couple for a while, then you know this isn't the first time that they haven't slept in the same bed. They actually had an arrangement when Abby had their first child and was pregnant with their second to have Matt sleep with the newborn so she could get a full night of sleep.
The problem people are having is not whether or not they want to sleep in the same bed. Like a lot of couples have that arrangement where they sleep in separate beds. Who cares? Like literally who cares? If it's not your house, who cares? If it's not your relationship, who cares? But the problem is that they have talked at length because once again, they have a podcast that they talk about everything at length that nobody needs to know. And she's expressed multiple times that she's not happy with that arrangement. And she doesn't want to live like that. And she doesn't want them to sleep in separate beds. He continues to do it over and over and talk about it publicly over and over.
Now I'm all for prioritizing your mental health, but I think a lot of people are wondering, why is sleeping in the closet away from your wife your answer to that rather than doing something like going to therapy?
Yeah, that's exactly it. The problem that people have is that Matt has proven time and time again that he is a toxic and selfish partner. I'm not particularly fond of her either, to be totally honest with you. I don't think anything that they say or do is very beneficial to society as a whole. I don't think it's good to have two people that are in a toxic relationship having a podcast or talking about their relationship or talking about how they're trying to deal with that. You need to go to therapy. This guy does not need a podcast.
And Matt even admitted that Abby didn't like this decision. And honestly, if I was Abby, I would not be really mad. I would just be really sad about this whole situation. And the craziest part of all this is that Matt posted this promoting his new solo podcast when he already has a podcast with Abby. So again, we're looking at speculation that maybe the two of them are on the rocks.
So people started to react to this, obviously, and then they were like, sorry, why would you willingly post that? Sleeping next to your wife gave you mental health issues. Yeah, I mean, that's the way that unfortunately it looks.
Here's Abby talking about how much she dislikes everything about the sleeping situation.
Does it mean that you're separating from me? What? I think people think that this might be because we're separating because you're sleeping separate from me.
Oh, yeah, but I want to get your thoughts, though, on like how you feel about sleeping alone, though.
You got to take the podcast equipment away from people because I'm very concerned that the only conversations they're having are because a podcast mic is in front of them. Okay, that's not good. It seems right now, based on this interaction, that this is the first time that they're even discussing the sleeping arrangements. This is the first time, it seems. Why are you not talking about this off camera, in person, to each other first? That's a problem, okay? If you're running to the internet first to talk to your podcast first, it's a problem. Once again, everything I've seen from them, number one, against my will. Number two, not necessary for the internet. No one needs to see this kind of relationship dynamic. It's uncomfortable, quite frankly, to see them interact. And she's said time and time again, oh, I don't like it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. He doesn't care.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No.
Sleeping alone?
No, I complain about it every night.
Every night.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's just, I'm a lonely gal.
I'm a lonely gal. And he's like, oh well.
I will never understand, never, is when TikTok couples, YouTube couples, married influencer couples air out their dirty laundry for the entire internet to see. Look, I get it. You're fighting, there's some friction, but you don't need to pick up the camera and vlog about it. You don't need to start a podcast over it. Nobody needs to see you guys processing an argument or a disagreement real time for the sake of content. You need to go to couples therapy.
Stop with the podcast and like go get some actual serious help. Why are we hearing about this? Why are you not telling a therapist this? And honestly, like this is my opinion about them, and it's been my opinion since the beginning, and I will maintain this. Some people do not need a podcast, and these are some people that absolutely do not need a podcast. They shouldn't have one for the reasons I said about just showcasing and promoting this toxic relationship and these toxic behaviors and dynamics that they have. It makes everybody uncomfortable. But on top of that, like they do things that are not smart. This is actually one thing that happened like semi recently. If you saw this, they actually left their 1 and 2 year old sons alone in their room on a cruise ship, and they went to dinner. She was bragging about it on her Instagram stories. And there's some people that just, they're not suited for the internet. Like I said, he tries to go viral every couple months. It's all like rage bait stuff. People just don't want to see it anymore. Honestly, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see their podcast clips anymore. I'm done. I'm tired of it. The good old days are over. Go get a job. This is another example, by the way, of a clip from their podcast. It honestly just makes me sick. And like, this is the kind of stuff that they platform on their podcast. This is the kind of stuff they put out into the world. And I think it's gross.
She always wanted a girl. I always wanted a boy. We decided that whatever the healthiest embryo was, we were going to transplant that one. That was just the way we were going to do it. And so we get to the doctor's office and he goes, all right, we got 10 to 12 viable embryos. I've got them ranked healthiest to least healthiest. And we're like, all right, what's number one? Girl. And I was like, you know, I'm fine having a girl. I just really wanted a boy. Haley goes, what about number two? And doctor goes, another girl. And I was like, God, strike two, you know?
Strike two. Whenever I see people saying that they're not getting the sex of the baby that they want, it immediately disgusts me every single time.
This number three is a boy. And he goes, all right, so what are we going to transplant in the surrogate? I'm leaning against the wall and I'm like this, you know, like, because I know it's going to be a girl, which is fine. And she goes,
which is fine, yeah. You're leaning up against the wall, sliding down the lockers. He's so upset at the thought that he might have a daughter. Think about that. Okay, think about the optics of that. He's slumped over physically at the thought he might get a daughter because those are the healthiest embryos. This is the kind of shit that they talk about on their podcast and they platform.
Goes, let's transfer the boy. And I look up and I'm like, what? And she looked at me and she goes, I can't give you children, but I can give you.
Yeah, so here's the backstory, by the way. The wife is dead, by the way. The reason she couldn't give him children was because she was dying of terminal cancer and he was standing on the wall sulking about the sex of the embryos. Exactly. Immediately when I saw this clip, I was like, ew. Like, this is toxic. Like, all of this stuff is just gross. Everything I've seen from this podcast, I've never seen anything come out of this podcast that's like actually good, helpful information, informative. It's not even entertaining. It's actually just, once again, it's uncomfortable and it's divisive and it's gross and I hate it.
Relationship thing, and I was told, I was like, look, every now and then something might happen when I travel, but I'm going to keep it super respectful, but it would still drive her insane. And I feel as though the type of person that she wants to be with and deserves to be with, it's not me.
Oh, here we go. You gotta love this new mindset of guys where they just openly talk about how they love to cheat on their girlfriends, that they're never gonna be faithful to one woman. Openly talking about this stuff is actually like, it's lunacy. It's like top 10 like craziest things I've ever seen. It's all you see these days. Like, no exaggeration. There's so many podcasts where guys are talking like this openly and publicly. Do you know how like insane that is? They think it's totally normal. They think it's super cool.
But see, I challenge that too. She has that.
What the f are you wearing, dude?
That thing in her head of what she thinks she wants, but it doesn't exist. She wants Mike Thurston that no other girl wants and only wants her. That doesn't exist.
Most women need to understand this. If you are the top 1% guy,
you have all the options.
Yeah.
Again, my wife is rap.
Thinking about these two, thinking that they are in the top 1% of guys makes me want to laugh like a hyena. You think you're in the top 1% of guys. You think the top 1% of guys is acting like that? How far have we fallen? Like, what happened? Men used to go to war. They used to live in caves 300 years ago. How have we reverted back? We're back in the cave, hitting our head against the wall.
Rational, which I hate to even like boil it down to that, but like, you know, that girl's not rational, right? And they can talk themselves into this idea or frenzy.
Guys, did you know it's not rational to expect a guy to not cheat on you? It's not rational.
Or I'll fix him or whatever. First of all, objectively, if she was to make you what she wants, she would be inherently making you less desirable.
Once again, I gotta ask the question. I gotta ask, who the hell are these people? No doubt in my mind that there's some kind of financial scheme going on where they're selling courses to kids, they're drop shippers, something like that. I mean, they all look the same. They walk, talk, act the same. These were some of the comments. It's just so funny. These guys thinking they're the top 1% of men is making me LOL. If you don't have self-control in relationships, you aren't top 1%. Exactly. I love the hypocritical nature of a lot of these like alpha bro podcasts. Like, dude, your whole thing is about, oh, discipline. I gotta work out. I gotta get my money up. I gotta do this. Like, you have no control over your own life and yourself. Top 1% of girls wouldn't want to date a man like you. Somebody said, LMFAO, this is literally just extreme narcissism. You'll never sustain a happy, healthy, lifelong relationship with personal development like this. Stop giving guys microphones. I should have liked that comment, honestly. Self-control is literally a marker of high intelligence. Yeah. I like the fact that he said as well, look, things might happen when I travel, but I'm going to keep it super respectful. Literally, by definition, not respectful if you're doing that. The thing is that top 1% of men don't label themselves top 1%. You know, I think that's the thing too, is a lot of these conversations I see like on podcasts and stuff too, to even be engaging in a conversation like that where we're talking about, hey, I'm in the top 1% of guy. I'm gonna date the top 1% of females. This girl's a 10 out of 10. This girl's a 6 out of 10. If you're gonna date a 6, but she's got like a 3 personality and she's got this and a 6 body, like, hey, you can't count. Okay, you can't do the math anyway. Like, let's stay away from numbers, okay? Let's be quiet. By virtue of the fact that they're engaging in a conversation about, or even saying, I'm in the top 1%, like as if anybody in the world cares about that kind of thing, or if that's even remotely true, is so funny and so hilarious. Somebody said they're not sending you to wars like they used to, and it shows. Somebody said, never saw something this corny. These guys are hypocritical losers. They have no self-control. They're morally bankrupt. And I think it's ironic because they want to act like they're rich and they're not. You are the poorest person in the world if you have no morals. Here's another clip I found recently. Oh God, here we go.
Impeccable shape when I met her. She was a powerlifter as well. In great shape, so strong. She had kids. She was still in good shape, but I kind of let off the gas. I was just like, I'm just not.
Hold on. Let's take a look at the optics here, okay, of what's going on. Like just a little bit of information that we've already gotten. So we're having a conversation on somebody's podcast about your wife's body. It's already inappropriate. He's already saying, I let off the gas. It's your wife's body. And she, as you admitted, had kids. And you're saying, I let off the gas. Be quiet.
She'll come to exercising on her own. Until I realized, I was like, no, I needed to be the one to say, hey, babe, like, it's okay for you to focus on you. I want you to do this, and I'm gonna help you do this.
The conversation's already going to a place that's wildly inappropriate. It started off that way. It's about to ramp up, preparing you, but talking about your wife's weight in a public setting, like I just need to stress that is just being so grossly inappropriate as being its own real main central problem. But then talking about your wife's body as if it's your, like you have any say or responsibility or anything like that, especially when she's admittedly postpartum, she's had children, and you're acting like her fitness journey is your fitness journey. You are the one controlling it. No. Men like this are so creepy to me. The ones that need control over every aspect of women's lives. It's weird.
It's not because I needed her to be more attractive, but it's also important.
Sure, pal.
Important for her to be healthy and to show our daughters what it's like for a woman to take care of herself and to be good with her food, which she is.
Yeah.
And to exercise and take care of her body, which she now does with our daughters present. It's beautiful.
The way you did that with your wife was with gentleness and love.
With gentleness and love, he's getting on a podcast talking about his wife's body. Do you think that's loving to say, oh, I let my foot off the gas? Let me just ask you a question. Do you really think that this guy took over the kids and was like, hey, you go work out. You go do your own thing. Like, I'll take the kids. I'll take this burden off of you. Do you really think that that's what happened here? A guy who's talking like this? No.
Yeah. You didn't shame her. You didn't make her
You didn't shame her. Gets on a podcast.
feel bad.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work.
No, it doesn't work. Let alone it being a dick thing to do. It's also
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But what I'll go as far as saying, and this might sound controversial, it's like if your wife is overweight, then that's part of the failed leadership on your part.
So yeah, people were not happy about this clip, and here were some of the comments. Dudes, this is the reason chicks hate us, and I don't blame them. 1,700 likes. This conversation is so gross. 4,300 likes. You know, but things go in the opposite way. Somebody said, man explains how he supported his wife in a health journey. Women in the comments, how dare he be supportive and a positive influence. Okay, we're gonna talk about this. Don't worry, we're gonna come back to this because this is what you may think. Okay, you might try to agree with the fact that, oh, you know, he wants his wife to be healthy and he cares about his wife and he's being supportive of her. Oh, we'll get into that. No, we'll get into that because don't worry, when you talk into a podcast mic for over an hour, okay, because you have to remember, okay, this isn't just a clip. This is a clip out of a podcast that's over an hour long. Okay, so he said a whole lot about marriage and the way he thinks about women, how he feels about certain things. Oh, he shares his opinions, don't worry. So we get the context that we're missing. So the people that are running to defend him, oh, I would not be doing that. Absolutely not. He's quietly saying that he loved her body and not her. Yeah, no, he's not quietly saying it. He actually is publicly saying. don't talk about your wife's weight, period. Thank you. That's not leadership. That's manipulation. Yeah. There's men like this that see women as nothing more than objects. That's true. The truth. Like, and I know that that's sort of like a platitude at this point. And, you know, a lot of people talk about it's like a hot button topic to say, oh, well, men treat women like objects. No, you really truly do when you're talking like this, acting as if you are the one who's responsible. Oh, it's your fault if your wife's overweight. No, women are human beings that deserve respect and dignity. You're not treating your wife like that when you're getting up there talking about how it's your responsibility as if she's like an animal, like she's a dog. Well, I didn't walk the dog today. She can make her own decisions. You masquerade around like you're a real man who cares about her. No, you don't. You're gross. Exactly. Here's a good question. Did you take care of the kids guilt-free and without needing constant instruction while she worked out? Or did you expect her to do both at the same time? I'm guessing it's the latter. Exactly. Sorry, but this guy is just nope. Modern obsession with youth and beauty. She was still in good shape, but she obviously needs to be perfect so her daughters know that anything less than perfect is a failure. Terrible message. Exactly. Because he said she was a powerlifter when I met her. She was in great shape. She was already good with her food. But now she does it in front of the daughters. And it's like, dude, if she knows how to be a powerlifter and she was one before she met you, she doesn't need you, okay? She doesn't need you to lead her and tell her what to do and bring her back to weightlifting. It's already inside her. She already knows it. Treating women like they're not human. That's honestly what it is. This person's exactly right about, he is emphasizing she was in good shape. She was eating healthy. She was good with her food. And he still says that there's more work that needs to be done. I have no tolerance for this. I have none. This was actually gross. So a lot of people talking about how this is actually not controversial at all. This guy's just a supportive husband. He just wants his wife to be healthy. He loves his wife. He's just being a supportive partner. Yeah, I think this is kind of an interesting experiment because, a lot of time you see clips like this pop across your For You page or you're online and you're just scrolling and then it just happens to come across. And, a lot of time we don't know who these people are. In this case, I still don't know who the person is. I literally have watched this entire podcast at this point because I wanted to just dive deeper because I'm like, sometimes you see a clip of something, right? And it's taken out of context or, maybe that's not what they meant to say or it was just like misconstrued in a way or there's more, we're missing something or maybe we agree on more, right? Immediately my sense was like, there's something off about this person and the way he's talking. Like there's something off about this, right? It struck me as this is not a guy that respects women. This is not a guy that respects his wife. You wouldn't be having this conversation if you did. And so I went ahead and I actually watched this entire podcast, okay? Literally, I will never get this hour of my life back. When I say I could not believe what I was hearing, this podcast was titled something along the lines of From Red Pill to Catholic. He claims that he's former Red Pill. Now, you can tell me if you feel like this guy's out of the woods with being part of the red pill movement.
And so it's like, why are we treating each other like we're the same? I think this has been the greatest psyop that we failed. It's because we can't even say that first wave feminism was good. The only innocuous piece of feminism that was like, maybe, this wasn't objectively an okay thing is the voting.
Remind me again. So this guy's not red-pilled. This is a guy who's right now saying that first wave feminism, which by the way was women's suffrage, gaining the right to vote, and that first wave feminism was a psyop. And you think that this is a person that genuinely wants his wife to be healthy?
But I heard even you wrestling with that recently. Were you not?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone should be voting, but
right.
No, I don't know. I mean, I could be open. I could be persuaded that a family should vote.
Right.
Not two people, and that the man, being the head of the family, should vote on behalf of the family.
So
these guys are talking right now, debating about whether or not, in this big year of 2025, we are going back and forth debating about whether or not women should vote. On a public, this is on YouTube, by the way. YouTube. This is a guy that has 2 daughters and a wife, and he's sitting on a podcast talking about whether or not women should be able to vote. It seems like the logical conclusion that he's about to draw, which they never really come to, is that no, in fact, women should not be able to vote, and that women actually gaining their right to vote, women's suffrage, the first wave of feminism, is a psyop.
Oh, there you go. But for sure, and I think we agree on that.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought it through. That seems reasonable to me.
It does seem reasonable to me as well. And so that was the only maybe relatively innocuous part, and one we could argue about that point, but everything else is just a lie. It was a really interesting discussion with all the guys. We were saying that greatest kings, and this is something that I'm not equating myself to a king, but something I've done with my wife as well, is they would seek the counsel of their wives because they're pure of heart and they're prudent. And who else would have a more of a vested interest in the household It's the wife.
I have a screenshot in my mind right now of the people that were defending this guy in the comments saying, oh, well, he's being a loving, supportive spouse. Men like this, honestly, they really think that they are the world's best husbands and best partners because they're asking their wife's opinion about something. Do you know how toxic and gross that is?
Some of these biggest decisions that I make, most decisions that I make, I know I have the final say, but I want to consult my wife. I want to see what she has to say. Maybe she'll sway me because it's a good idea. And maybe we disagree, but I make the decision anyways.
Men like this have zero respect for women. They try to manipulate women using the idea of righteousness and I'm gonna protect you and I'm gonna do XYZ. Feminism's a psyop. And they try to do it to manipulate women into this modern idea of submission because they're losing control on women. That's why they hate feminism. That's why they're mad that women can vote. They don't have control over them anymore. And they hate that.
And the same thing with making a choice on something in the home. I know I could just slam the hammer down, but I think it's a good idea and I love including her in the decision.
I love including her in the decision. Are you married to a toddler or is it your wife? This one statement alone makes me realize you don't see your wife as an equal. And I feel sorry for her. I really do. No man that talks like this sees women as equals, sees their wife as an equal, sees their wife as having any value. He sees himself as above her in every single way.
I think that's proper leadership and not just saying like, you're just made for these 3 duties around the home and that's all you're going to do. Feminism is very kind of loud but quiet.
What does that mean?
Meaning like...
Yeah, what the does that mean exactly? He's like so lost. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Like, so you don't realize how brainwashed you are by it?
Yeah.
Because it's just been kind of like this slow sort of propaganda. I don't even know the word.
No, you don't. You don't know a lot of words.
Yeah, you've been propagandized.
Yeah.
Right? And you've been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Even, for example, for me, and I'm saying this for me too, at the beginning of my marriage, it's like me and my wife are splitting things 50-50.
How is that as women are indoctrinated? Because you wanted to try to split it 50-50. A man wanted to split it 50-50 in his own family, and you want to blame that on feminism because of your own problems, because you once again fundamentally misunderstand what feminism is. So to get on a podcast trying to persuade people away from it when you're not even characterizing it correctly, shut the fuck up.
Essentially, we just need to stop being at odds with one another. And I think men can ultimately lead women out of feminism, but they also have to be open to being led out of that and being told that like, hey, you were like really... You're indoctrinated, and here's why. Like, this is evil. This is the prime evil. This is a manifestation of hell on earth because it's pitted us against one another. We're putting our careers over our families, which there's a problem there. Mm-hmm. We have a problem with our husbands saying no to us. It's very dysphoric. It's very confusing because it's like you're pitting a woman against her own nature. Because I think naturally a woman kind of...
loves children.
Yeah.
Yeah, wants to be nurturing.
Wants to be at home.
Here's the other thing, too. If you're a woman who says, well, I'm just not naturally nurturing, figure it out.
And you will.
Figure it out.
And this is what I love. And I love it because I love when people just have no clue what they're talking about. I love that. These two should be banned from podcasting for the rest of time. He has gone on now at length. Feminism's a psyop and we need to lead women away. It is evil. It is evil on this earth. What are the core tenets of what feminism is? And because it's very simple. And when people have these kind of conversations and they make it so complicated, I'm like, why? It's so easy. It's equal rights and opportunities. It's really not hard to understand. It's funny though to say you need to be let out of feminism when you yourself are explaining why feminism still needs to exist. When you go on to say women have a nature to be nurturing and to love children, and that's what they need to do. And they need to just figure it out how to be nurturing and how to be around kids. Well, guess what? Some women don't want that, okay? If you want to be a trad wife, guess what? Feminism's made it so it's possible that that's your choice. If you want to have traditional family roles, feminism's made that possible for women. But it also has made it possible for women to decide that they don't want that if they don't want to do that, okay? Do you know what it would have been like in the past if a woman said that she didn't want to be around children? And she wasn't really that motherly and didn't really want to be a mom and she wanted to have a career? They'd probably strap a cannonball to her chest and throw over the side of a ship, okay, into the ocean. So I don't want to hear it when you're saying like this, perpetuating this idea that women have to be one thing and they have to be motherly and nurturing. That's not the journey for some women. Okay, and that's the whole movement of feminism. And it has nothing to do with men. It's all about just women's right to decide and have equal rights and opportunities. Okay, and have the social stigmas that are not placed upon them, especially the ones that are surrounding motherhood. The fact that this still exists is evidence alone. There's still more work to do. I don't want to see podcasts anymore where guys are having these conversations that are baseless. Like, they have no clue, they have no perspective on what women are even talking about. They're mischaracterizing, misunderstanding what the fundamentals of feminism are. They're allowing themselves to be misinformed. So yeah, I'm gonna ask you guys again, do you really feel like those two guys are looking out for the best interest of women? Do you think that they understand what it means to be a woman in today's world? No. I think one of my main criticisms, and really the central thesis of why podcast equipment needs to be banned, is that a lot of these podcasts perpetuate a lot of, in my opinion, harmful stereotypes about men and women. I think that they create division and hostility between people that doesn't need to exist. It does not need to exist. Feminism is not about women over men, or women are superior to men, and how do we get women to a place where we're over men or we're better than men. It's not about that. That's not what it's about. It's never been about that. It's always just been about equal rights and opportunities. But anyone that's having conversations publicly that seeks to create more divide and more tension and basically promote these toxic ideologies that they're never going to see the other side of because they refuse to, there's no place for that. I see so much just toxicity, toxic relationships, toxic advice, bad financial advice, cringe, corny stuff. I'm like, stop. Let's take the podcast equipment away. Ban it, burn it, hang it up. Let's just hang it up, okay? But anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys have enjoyed. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe, because I do tons of popular internet topic videos. If you like this one, leave a like, and I will see you guys in my next video.
I ordered 10 chicken wings, bone-in with lemon pepper.
Chicken wings,
lemon pepper rub. And
chicken macaroni, chillin' with my homies.
Wait, I got a solo. Ready? Chicken.